Fellas, welcome back to Cringe Confessional, the cringiest show on the internet, until you start one. I set up an anonymous forum at cringe.coney.gg where people could send me their most terrifying, horrifying, embarrassing stories ever that happened to them, all anonymously. I don't have their IP or their name and address anywhere. And we have gone through a whole bunch, and tonight we're going to go through even more. Let's get to cringing, shall we?
When I was in elementary school, like most kids, I was signed up for an extracurricular activity by my parents.
All kids got to do it.
They had signed me up for a children's football team that I didn't really care about. One day near the end of practice, some kids were working on their kickoffs. At this point, I had never done a kickoff and didn't really want to, but the other kids and the coaches insisted that I tried.
Right.
So I wound up and kicked the ball as hard as I could.
Oh no! I read the story!
Kids bent over holding it. I missed the ball entirely and kicked the kid right in the face with my cleat. He fell to the ground and started yelling and crying. All of the other kids and coaches thought I did it on purpose, so I was yelled at relentlessly and also started crying.
Do you guys know that moment where, like, really fuck up in your life? You make like something happens that's awful. I don't know about you guys. My immediate thought when that happens is this real? Is this real? Can I reverse time? Can I wake up? Is this actually, like, something in my mind creates like a save state? Does that make sense? A sudden dissociation. I guess that's the word. It's a strange feeling where it's like, wait, how do I... okay, I could go back and I can't fix it. I just kicked that guy in the fucking nose. His nose is broken, but surely he could... if I didn't do that, but I had to do that, I just did it, so I can't not do it. It's a weird feeling, man. Like, it's almost out of body. Yeah, it's the same with a car crash. Even if it's a small car crash, like, something, like, clicks in your brain. You're like, oh, that can happen. Like, something wakes you up from the drudgery of everyday life.
The coaches made me run laps around the field.
Broken kid's face, broken nose, gushing, bleeding, fat lips. You know what? Run around a bunch. You know what I want you to do for permanently disfiguring that kid and ruining his life? Run in a circle 3 times.
When I was maybe 7, I was playing in the playground when one of my friends wedgied me insanely hard, presumably as a joke.
Do wedgies exist? I thought they were just in movies. I've only seen them in cartoons. That's what I'm saying. I'm serious. Wedgies are hard to give. It seems like a lot of work. People got called gay for doing it, so nobody did it. Wow, you're really gonna stay after school and beat me up on the playground? Pretty gay, dude. No, I'm not. I won't even touch you, actually. No, you're cool. You're cool, actually. You're a really cool guy. You're really gonna touch my underwear? Oh, is that the counter to fucking grade school nonsense? That's so stupid. What about a swirly? I had never seen no swirly before. But those happen in private, because you gotta get somebody in the bathroom. Are swirlies a real thing? I don't know. I don't think so. I've seen swirlies, and it gets brutal. Ugh, it sounds miserable. My grandfather gave me swirlies as punishment. That's something you tell a therapist, not Twitch chat. But I'm glad you're beginning the healing process. Thanks for stopping by. Fucking Grandpa Dave doing swirl, like he thinks it's so funny. Grandpa, stop! What kind of fucked up, strong grandpa is giving swirlies? That is a powerful man.
Over the course of the day, the pain in my crotch grew and grew to the point where I could barely walk. And when I got home and took my pants off, my balls had swollen to the size of 2 oranges.
Okay, in parentheses, they say not emphasizing, which I guess means not exaggerating. You are. Oranges or tangerines? I think you mean a clementine. I'll give you a clementine, maybe. Or like a tangerine or something. Not an orange.
I didn't tell a single soul how I got testicular torsion, obviously. However, when I returned to school, I was informed that during my absence the head teacher had called an assembly to talk about the dangers of wedgies, directly name-dropping me and my giant swollen ball sack, so every kid in the entire school knew I got atomic wedgied so hard my balls almost exploded. You
should become a part of the yearly curriculum. Everyone, we had an incident last year with a student, and his name is Ryan Jones. And Ryan Jones here, he had a very bad accident, and let's all remember Ryan Jones forever and his tragic scrotum. Also, if your name is Ryan Jones in chat, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. Honestly, if I'm the kid that gave the wedgie, I would think I was an X-Man. I'm in 3rd grade, and I gave a kid a wedgie so hard he almost died. I'm finding Charles Xavier immediately.
My sophomore year of high school, I had been talking to this girl, and we had been sexting a bit that evening while I was in my room playing video games.
Okay, continue.
Being a typical teenage boy,
Okay.
I sent her a simple message. I'm horny. She didn't reply for a few minutes, so I went to check my other texts. When I realized that I had sent the message not to the girl I had been talking to,
Classic.
but to my dear mother.
Classic.
Needless to say, I
Yeah.
panicked. Formulating a plan, I went downstairs, hoping that my mom didn't have her phone with her and that I could just delete it before she saw it.
Doesn't it suck that horny is so unambiguous? Like, you can't use the word, like, hot as, like, being aroused. Feeling kind of hot. Because then it's like, oh, mom, turn down the thermostat. You can, like, get out of that. Horny has one meaning.
Of course, her phone was right next to her while she was watching TV. So I made up a story about wanting to install this really cool app on her phone. She says okay, unlocks it, and hands it to me, and I go into messages to delete my text. And it had already been deleted.
She trusts you. She really trusts you to say okay after you said that to her. I would not give you my phone. Imagine your son texts you, I'm horny, then immediately comes downstairs and says, Mom, I gotta show you something. No, son. This is rather inappropriate. Father will be hearing about this. Why didn't he just say, I meant to say hungry, sorry. You have all the answers, don't you? That is the right play, though. You're right. You just type hungry a few times in all caps, like, hungry! I meant hungry, Mom, hungry! Haha! And then you both have a giggle about it. And then it comes up at, like, family gatherings and nobody averts their eyes. Why did it autocorrect to horny? I would tell my mom, I'd be like, oh, sorry, I'm texting a girl I like. Mom's gonna understand. Mom was a girl once, too. Then just tell the fucking truth at that point. No, man, you gotta wiggle out of it. Assess the situation.
Back in high school, I had been dating a girl for a little while.
Cool.
We had occasionally been intimate from time to time, but wanted to wait until we were both 18 to go all the way.
Okay.
The day came, and I had been visiting her home for a couple of days, and we had planned to have sex during my stay there.
Okay.
She wanted to be home alone,
Right.
so she told her mother that we would be committing this act and that she wanted her to leave the house while we do it.
Sure.
So we start eating lunch, and her mother is giving us an entire talk on how to have safe sex and all that, even asking questions about how excited we were. I can't imagine how she must have felt when she left the house.
Mom!
We're no longer together.
Freaky ass mom. Stop. I'm super excited, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I love your daughter very much and I want to do the right thing. How do you put this on? Could you please teach me? Do you have any tips on the trade or suggestions on how to better satisfy? What a fucked up story. Why did she straight up tell her mom? Some people have relationships like that with their parents, you know what I mean? Like they love each other and the moms tell them to be honest, right? I was just about to say, I would be okay if my kid told me. I don't want to know. I lied. That's a mom story. That's not a dad story.
When I was in the 3rd grade, the show iCarly was really popular.
Okay.
The episode I Fight Shelby Marks had just aired.
Means nothing to me.
This is the episode where Carly and Shelby box.
I don't know who that is.
For some reason, this episode inspired me, and I had the brilliant idea of starting my own boxing tournament at recess.
Okay.
I got the whole grade involved and got my friends to help organize fights every recess in the center of the soccer field.
Okay.
I never participated as I was a small, petite 9-year-old girl. However, as ringleader, I would persuade other kids to fight.
This is a fucked up kid. 9-year-old girl telling bigger kids than her, bigger boys to fight. That's crazy.
Everyone in the grade would make bets on who they thought was going to win.
With like Tootsie Rolls? What are you betting? You're a child.
At one point, we had over 40 kids watching at recess.
Okay.
Some kids
40?
went hard in the ring as it was bracket style, and everyone was watching.
What?
Obviously, the school had found out about this, and teachers gave every single class in the 3rd grade a lecture.
Yes!
And banned the fighting. They urged for the person who started it to come forward. I was scared shitless, so of course I didn't admit to it, and thankfully no one ratted on me.
Awesome.
I still can't believe to this day that when I was 9 I had started a boxing tournament and gotten away with it.
This sounds like a South Park episode. I feel like this didn't happen. Are you Wendy Testaburger? What the fuck is that? You did bracket style? Kids had to fight like multiple times? Imagine being a 9-year-old doing a double header. Fighting 2 other children. Maybe 3 if you get to finals. Oh my god. People in chat are saying this is not cringe. I mean, I guess that's true. This feels like a flex more than anything. Nothing bad happened to you. You just got some kids to beat themselves or beat each other up, but like they chose to do it, I guess. Did they have gloves? You said it was boxing. In iCarly, is it like, do they have like big sock 'em bopper gloves? That makes it less bad. What the fuck is a sock 'em bopper? Bro, they're more fun than a pillow fight. Am I Unk? POV, you are 9 years old and a 9-year-old little girl told you to beat the shit out of your friend. Here you go. Yeah, get him! Get his ass! Anyway, that's a sock 'em bopper. That's what we had fun with before Fortnite.
In like 3rd grade, I was obsessed with the chip-cut pickles and the school provided to go with the sandwiches and burgers. There was a girl of which my 3rd grade brain just considered another kid at school.
In parentheses before this says she got hot.
After I piled my tray high with them, this girl put some on her plate as well.
Aw.
With emphatic vigor, I exclaimed, "I love you!" She just looked at me with eyes that said, "I don't care how you look in high school. I want nothing to do with you." I haven't said a word to her in the 8 years and counting we gone to the same school and had classes together. Any advice for senior year?
Why? Why? I wanted to hear that whole one out. Why did Rod just give the greatest performance of his life? Rod really wanted to stick that one. He's trying to bring justice to this story.
With emphatic vigor, I exclaimed, "I love you!"
Hold on. Is it just Rod?
With emphatic vigor, I exclaimed, "I love you." With emphatic vigor,
He did not hit that shit. He did not hit that shit. Nope.
Any advice for senior year?
Leave her ass alone. Just leave her alone, man. You were trying to make a friend. I get that you were doing it because of the pickles. She will not be your friend. Let it go. Yeah, they kept having classes for 8. That's fucked up. It's so sad to me. This is gonna break my heart as a parent. When a kid, like, makes a vie for, like, friendship, the idea of a kid trying to be friends with another kid, like, trying to vie for, like, you know, a shared interest, or, like, here's this cool thing, I want you to be my friend, and the other kid just being an asshole about it, oh, that's gonna break my heart. That's so sad. That's a middle school thing. I think in elementary school, everybody's cool because it's like, whoa, you have red shoes? I have red shoes at home. Like, that's like an elementary school thing. Kids love that. Middle school, kids start getting mean as hell. In college, it goes back the other way. In college, you're, you know, I don't know if you go back to red shoes, but, you know, you're a little bit closer.
One time I was in my high school drama class. We were playing an improv game called Freeze. Okay. Where there are 2 people on stage doing their improv thing until someone in the crowd says freeze, in which both people on stage freeze in the exact position they are in. Yeah. The person who said freeze taps one of the 2 on the shoulder and the person tapped goes back into the crowd. The person who tapped takes the position of the person they tapped and they start a different scene than before. Yeah. Now I neglected to mention that my crush was in this class. Let's call him Theodore Roosevelt.
I'll call him Teddy, okay? I think that's a little much.
I wanted to play the game, but was extremely nervous because I don't want to look weird in front of Teddy.
Okay, sure.
As the game is going on, Teddy gets on stage and is playing his part. I force myself to say freeze. I stand up and the anxiety is building at an all-time high. The scene they were just playing was a scene for gardening where they were planting, both on their hands and knees. At this point I'm shaking, and in the panic I make a horrible mistake. I say to Teddy, put on that condom and get inside me right now.
Oh, that has to be fake, right? This can't be a real story. This can't be real. No one would do that. No, I don't think that's real. I can't. That can't be real.
Silence. Silence for 10 seconds.
Oh, God!
It felt like years. Everyone, including Teddy, is just staring at me. The teacher walks up and pulls me out of class and talks with me about how inappropriate what I had just done was while I'm crying from embarrassment. It gets worse. My mom was a teacher 3 classrooms over. My drama teacher took me there because it was her planning lunch period. So I have tears rolling down my face explaining what happened to my mom. Advanced to later that night and I'm texting Teddy. He makes sure I'm alright, then asks me to a date later that week. That was 5 years ago in our senior year. We are now engaged, so I guess it ended up being a good thing after all. We still talk about this exact moment often.
W Riz. I don't believe you. This is a creative writing prompt. Yeah, but it's so basic that it might be real. Invite Coney to the wedding. No, I don't want to go. They're gonna have improv games. Hey, Coney, freeze! I gotta head out. Thanks for having me, man. Seriously, wonderful cake, delicious cake. Thank you.
When I was in 6th grade, we took a field trip to the Holocaust Museum.
Not again. Oh, they better not have no squeaky ass shoes.
And an Israeli woman who was the descendant of a survivor. The museum had a section that was a recreation of a gas chamber and an imposing entrance. We were all quite rattled from the stories, the videos, the survivors, and the photos. We were just kids, so although we knew it was a museum, we still felt unsettled. A group of boys kept grabbing me and inappropriately touching me since we arrived, and I kept trying to be hush about telling them to stop because I was a deeply anxious child, and we were in a place I felt would be extremely inappropriate to be loud. And when we got to the gas chamber entrance, the Israeli woman saw the boys harassing me and me trying to get them to stop, and she yelled at them and grabbed the lead boy's hand and dragged him through the gas chamber entrance, and the entire group gasped and a few of the kids said they're going to gas him. I was mortified. But I turned and saw the Holocaust survivor with us, and he just had his eyes closed and his mouth open, most likely suffering PTSD from the whole ordeal. The kid was picked up by his parents, so he wasn't on the bus ride back to school, and everyone kept saying he was gassed.
Honey, please stop saying Marcus was gassed. He was not gassed. No, Mom, I saw him. They took him into the chamber. He didn't come back, Mom. He wasn't there. Kids are so fucking... Oh, why would it still be functional? Why would they use it on one kid? We can't put this in the video. This is Twitch exclusive. Oh my god. What about the sexual harassment? It might not be sexual. They just said that they were touching him. Bullies will just like touch you. They'll just like push you or like nudge you or like grab, like pinch you, grab, like they'll do that, you know? You don't have to jump to like it being that, you know? That fucked me up when I read it at 2 a.m. I forgot to thank you. Everybody, let's give it up for E. Compton for tonight's story. This would not be possible without him. Bless up, E. Compton. Thank you so much. This all be on YouTube. Well, not all of it, but thank you, E. Compton, for putting this together. I appreciate it.
Back in the day being 5th grade, most of the kids would go play soccer at recess.
Right.
There was this kid nicknamed Big Rig, 8,230 pounds in 5th grade, mind you. He'd punt the ball down the whole field and...
What? 5'8", 230 pounds? Oh shit, it's Big Rig. Get his ass to the NFL. That kid is 1 inch shorter than me and 10 years old. He would punt
being the kid I was, decided to challenge one of those kicks with my head.
Oh, you're dead.
I jumped up in the air, blocked it with my head, ended up scoring with that header, but the force knocked me back to the ground. Of course, girl I liked came over to see if I was okay, and in my half-concussed state I had said I'm just fine, I have an angle looking over me. She kicked me in the head again.
Okay, this didn't happen. You are talking about The Big Green, that Disney soccer movie. I don't think this really happened. Come on. Is this Big Rig? Did you get up to some very silly child soccer antics? Was there a goat on your team? Did you have a goat on your team? I don't believe that happened.
As a young girl, I was a bit of a tomboy, and as such I was really into Dragon Ball Z, specifically Dragon Ball Z Kai, because I was 9 years old when it came out and nothing could possibly be cooler. I got a few of the books, tons of games. I memorized the lyrics to the opening theme song, and I even, for some reason, thought I was going to be able to try out for a role for as the child characters.
Wrong song, wrong one. It's a fucking Dragon Ball. Dragon! That's what they say. Dragon! It's weird that when you're a kid, you think like, you watch Looney Tunes and you're like, one day I'm gonna be a Looney Tune. I'm gonna be a Bugs Bunny. Cheddar said I wanted to grow up into purple Play-Doh. Speak on that. I loved everything purple. My thought was that Play-Doh could be anything. Kid who really likes purple.
Some point during this brief phase, my parents went away for a work trip, and my older brother and I were sent to a family friend's house to stay for the week.
Right.
At one point we were in their backyard with the kids, who were all a few years older than me, and I started rambling about a show I loved so much. I mentioned how I knew the opening song and asked if I could sing it for them. With what I interpreted as encouraging smiles and laughter, they said, "Yeah, go for it." I was shy, so I turned around and started belting the lyrics as loud as I possibly could. Once the full minute and 30-second song was over, there was a lot of laughter. Thinking they were in awe of my incredible performance, I said, "Do you also want to hear my trunk's voice?" And without waiting for a response, I just started making those cringe stereotypical anime grunts to try and really wow my audience. My brother had his face buried in his hands in shame. Still, somehow, thinking I had done a fantastic job, the kids managed to convince me to do this whole routine 4 more days in a row.
No!
Until my brother pulled me aside and said, "You know they're making fun of you, right?"
You were a lol cow.
It all came crashing down on me and I was so embarrassed. To this
my
day I have yet to watch another
dude.
anime more than a few episodes.
That's so sad. But they did you a favor. You got the good ending. Don't worry, you're good. Here's the opening, by the way.
Don't stop, we're in luck now. Don't stop, there's so much to be found.
I don't know if you guys caught one little detail of this story, but the little girl said she was extremely shy, so she didn't sing it to the kids, so she faced it the other way. So just imagine a little girl facing the other way. Don't stop, we're in luck now! Kids are fucked up. Like I said, I get so sad when I think about kids because they're so vulnerable. They want so badly to connect with another kid about the shit they like, and that's never gonna go good. That's so mean.
Back in about 2018 or so, I was doing an online class.
Yep.
I was asking a question in Zoom chat when I accidentally pressed paste. Well, turns out, when you press paste, if there is a file copied, it will automatically send.
That's a weird function.
No idea why. And this was the family computer
Okay.
that my dad used for work occasionally.
No, not Dad.
He worked
no,
at a
what
big
did Dad
filming
do?
company.
What did Dad...
I pasted all of those top secret files into the Zoom chat.
Oh, like what?
I tried to delete them, but there were just too many.
Oh.
I'll still remember when my teacher said, "Oh, what did you send in chat?"
What did you send
I
in
shut
chat?
the computer off out of panic.
Mm-hmm.
We hushed it up with the teacher after, so everything was fine. But that's the story of how I leaked Frozen 2 into a middle school Zoom chat, and how my dad almost lost his Disney animator job as a result.
You're in an online class in middle school, and a kid is like, "Hey, check this out," and puts an entire feature film. You're like, "This isn't Frozen 1. Where did you get this? Did you make this?" Dude, could you imagine? What is it, the teacher? The teacher is like, "What the fuck? This is a different movie. You made a new movie. Why did your dad have the entirety of Frozen 2? Okay, it wasn't the whole movie. It was just I for some reason I thought he had the entire thing on his clipboard. Just imagine being another middle schooler like, "Is that Elsa of Arendelle?" Someone saw it, man. Some kid told their parents, and their parents did not believe them.
When I was a wee lad, my best friend and I had the great idea to start a religion.
Okay.
Obviously, with any good religion you need a deity, and we had the perfect one.
What the fuck kind of Phineas and Ferb shit is this?
Sonic the Hedgehog has its own Bible, apparently, so that was the easy choice. We created a Discord server for it, invited our friends to it. The worst offense was us writing not 10, but 20 commandments of Sonicism. And when I say friends, I don't just mean 4 or 5. I mean a server of 96 people. The only good part of it was we banned all furry NSFW content.
You were like 4 people away from a tax break. I would like to know the 20 commitments of Sonicism, a pamphlet or a brochure. How would you even learn about starting religions back then? WikiHow, it might be.
I can't remember how old I was, but I was probably in like 2nd or 3rd grade.
Okay.
So like 7 or 8,
I like having
maybe
this background.
even
I like
9
knowing.
years old. YouTube wasn't super well known yet, but I spent a lot of time on there watching PewDiePie, and as a young
PewDiePie.
kid, I didn't quite understand all the crude jokes that he made in his videos. Now, I was a girl. I didn't really know what a penis was.
I'm sorry for that reaction, but there's a lot of girls tonight. Man, it's ladies' night, truly.
One day, at church, I was getting bored and decided to take out one of the pamphlets in the chairs and doodle. Normal kid doodles, whatever. And then I got the idea to draw my dad. and I remembered PewDiePie drew people with penises, and I decided I wanted to do that, so I drew my dad with an absolute huge cock, massive schlong, and I showed it to him, so proud of my drawing, and I can't quite remember the look on his face, but it was probably one of horror. He told me never to draw that again, but being a kid, I never quite understood why, since he never explained to me why what I drew was bad, so I continued to draw these shitty little stick figures with massive penises in secret for a good while.
That is a nightmare. Oh my god. At the church? Thank God you went to him first. That's a dead nightmare. Genuinely. That's like, I'm keeping my kid on Coco Melon till she's 15. If she went to any other person on the planet, she's getting taken away. The father saw it all flashing before his eyes. Yeah, the dad was... They should have been a little bit more clear, but also, you don't want to explain what that is yet. Imagine you're this kid's dad, and every so often you just find a note card with stick dicks around your house for the next several months. Oh my god, Stacy! Stop!
An important thing to know is that God cursed me with one of the cruelest punishments he could bestow upon man, liking musical theater.
Oh, he's cruel.
Another important thing is I almost always have at least one of my earbuds in listening to my music, but, being as anxious as I am, I'm uncomfortable with other people knowing what I'm listening to.
Yeah, I would be
My
too.
parents would randomly ask me what I was listening to, even if they knew I wouldn't give a straight answer.
Yeah, I wouldn't tell
One
them.
night,
I would not
my
tell
family sat around the TV for a family movie night, and I have no clue how, but we ended up watching Tim Burton's adaptation of Sweeney Todd.
them. Not a bad movie.
The next day, my mother picked me up from...
Oh, you were definitely listening to that fucking music.
By coincidence, at the moment, I was listening to Epiphany, a fairly popular song from Sweeney Todd, and, in a moment of which I can only describe as utter foolishness, I decided I'd actually share my music with someone for once. For those lucky enough to be unaware, Sweeney Todd is a musical about a barber who murders people and bakes them into pies, and Epiphany is the song where he goes insane and sings about wanting to kill anyone he could.
Yeah, he wants to kill all of London.
Obviously, not a great song to start with,
Well,
but
you saw the
considering we
movie.
just
Yeah.
watched the movie the night
mom
prior,
knows you
I
watched the
figured it
movie.
to be a good way
It's
to
fine.
connect.
Yeah.
I hand her my earbuds and wait for her to recognize the song, but she never does. The look on her face is not disappointment, not
Yeah, that's
disgust,
kind of funny.
not anger.
That's kind of
It
funny.
is a look of complete
That's
nothingness.
kind of funny.
It is at this moment that I remembered a very vital piece of information. My mother had fallen asleep in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and doesn't remember a damn thing about.
That's insane. Dude, if you fell asleep in the first 10 minutes of Sweeney Todd, nothing has happened. I don't think he killed anybody, and I don't think anybody... certainly nobody's getting baked into pies. That doesn't happen till way later. That's when he meets Mrs. Lovett.
Here she is, my very Christian mother, finally hearing what a quiet,
well,
kind
hold
of
on,
unsocial
hold on.
teenager is listening to the
Hold
majority
on.
of the time.
No.
And all she hears is a man singing his heart out about how much he hates mankind and wants to kill everybody. I honestly consider it a miracle she didn't report me to a priest.
That's her fault. She fell asleep, and you should have explained it.
It took me a very long time to share my taste in music with anyone else, and, perhaps most tragically, I still enjoy musical theater to this day.
Oh, you didn't learn anything! Listening to musical theater outside of the context of a theater is embarrassing! You're not the lady from Waitress! End of the day, Epiphany is still a good song. I don't remember that. I just know Signor Pirelli, the patter song with the barber. I'm not a Sweeney Todd guy, but a lot of people like it. I think it's good, but I'm not a big guy. Hierarchy is wrestling, anime, theater, obscure sports. Okay, relax. We gotta tear this out. We gotta have a meeting about this. Like, what the worst thing is. Like, fandom, what? Not even fandom. Like, what niche interest, I guess? Because remember, there's theater and then there's musical theater. These are two very different things, and if you don't know that they're different, then you are uncultured. Everybody thinks they're the same because they're stupid and have never seen the fine arts. Improv is at the bottom. I'll shake to that, brother. Guys, thanks for watching Cringe Confessional. That's going to do it for tonight. Some great submissions, I would say. What was your favorite one? Might be genuinely one of the funniest nights. Very good tales today. I hope you guys liked it, and I hope that you're going to subscribe and like the video. You did like it. You made it this far. If you don't now, you're just being stingy. Weirdo. I shouldn't antagonize people.